Ho, alright, what's up, Dragon Brood? Today, I realized a thing. I'm like, we're getting to the end of the season. What decks have we played the last couple seasons that I just hadn't gotten around to or whatever? And turns out it's Abzan Clerics. But before we get into that, a couple of things I want to tell you about. Tuesday, the 26th, we're going to be doing an early access thing. We're going to be streaming in the morning on YouTube. We're going to be streaming in the afternoon on Facebook and in the evening on Twitch. So if you want to come see new decks being played, check us out that day. Speaking of which, starting today, I think when you're seeing this, if not, sometime Saturday or Sunday, I'm going to start rolling out a couple of videos a day with Decklist using new Capenna cards. So keep an eye out for that. Remember to follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit the notification bell. Make sure you do not miss those so you get new deck lists with the new cards, because there's going to be a lot of crazy stuff going on. But for now, let's go take a look at the Abzan Clerics list and see what it looks like with the help of Tamiyo's Safekeeping, because that card does a lot for us in this deck, and hopefully it's going to be our ticket to victory. If you're looking for quality binders, sleeves, dice, deck boxes, or other supplies, be sure to check out Ultra Pro's Smoke Gray collection this month over at shop.ultrapro.com/PowrDragn and use promo code PowrDragn to save 5%. Alright, getting into this list, we're starting out with 2 Cleric class. The earlier list went a little bit heavier, and every time you gain a life, you get a bonus life, and that's all cool. But we really don't have that much room the way the decks are going to be built. So this is more of just a late game card, possibly use it to recur a key creature if we need to. We're going to go with 4 Lunarch Veteran. Of course, you're not going to not play this. It's the best 1-drop you can play in this style of deck. Now, we're going to split up our removal a little bit. Though we are a very aggressive deck, and one of our kind of keys to victory is just be bigger than the opponent or gain more life than they can deal damage to you, occasionally you just got to get rid of something. So 2 Bloodchief's Thirst is what we're going with. We're going with 3 Tamiyo Safekeeping. I'm not going to lie to you, though, I did consider getting a 4th one in here. But not only does it protect a permanent, which sometimes is important because they may come after your Cleric class or maybe one of your creature lands and you can protect that. It does a big deal of keeping your board alive after a sweeper. It can keep you alive in combat if your opponent's got an interesting trick. But most importantly, it gains 2 life. So it can get you closer to that threshold of 27 for your Righteous Valkyrie, but just in a pinch, if you need to gain a couple of +1/+1 counters or more, gaining that 2 life could be pretty big. Then, of course, we're going Luminarch Aspirant. Though it's not a big creature, it is a cleric, and it gets to put counters on things, so we're going to be digging that. We have 4 Voice of the Blessed, which absolutely you're playing. This is probably like the second best, most important cards of the list. Cleric of Lifespawn. I don't know why people tend to cut down on these. I see a lot of lists that try to only play 3, but honestly, this card's great. If you're playing black-white clerics, I mean, I get it if you're playing mono-white, but if you're playing black-white clerics, this card is really good. Even just 2 of these on the board early on turn 2, turn 3, get out of hand really quickly. So, yeah, and again, when we have something like Tamiyo Safekeeping, if we use that on the opponent's turn, well, then we get additional +1s on their turn, which is also pretty big. So keep stuff like that in mind. Tamiyo Safekeeping is very tricky in this deck. Then, because we're playing black-white, we do have a couple of Vanishing Verse. I didn't want to go too heavy, because there are still some multicolor things we can't really get rid of, like the Halana and Elena and things like that. Some of the stuff in the Werewolf decks. But this does get rid of a lot of big things that are problematic for us. Planeswalkers, namely. So, I'm going to go ahead and rock a couple of these. We're playing 3 Trellis Sarah. Some people like to play 4 when they do play these types of decks. I only wanted 3. I think between 3 of these, 4 Cleric of Lifespawns, 4 Voice of the Blessed, plus all of our other stuff that can possibly grow or put counters, like, this is probably going to be enough in here. I don't think we needed 4, and it is legendary, so there's that. But that did open room for 2 Core Celebrant. Now, I will say we could probably cut 1 Celebrant to play an additional Safekeeping, but I wanted to make sure we had at least enough triggers to gain life, or else we have a couple of cards that don't do a whole lot on their own. So, we'll see. Then, of course, 4 Righteous Valkyrie. You're not going to play any less than that in this list, because late game, getting +2/+2 on everything is super spectacular. And then Aura, Skyclave Hierophant. And I want to say this about Aura. Though Aura is legendary, one of the things I have considered is playing a 4th one, because the fact that it's legendary sometimes works as a benefit. And what I mean by that is that if you play a second Aura, you can go ahead and sacrifice one of them, or I guess state-based effects that you have to because you have 2 legends. But when it goes to the graveyard, that does mean you get something back out. And if you're looking to just get some triggers to gain life and then put counters on things, that's awesome. Maybe you want to immediately bring back a Righteous Valkyrie. I mean, there's a bunch of things you could do with it. So I kind of like the idea of it. And again, if we want to cut a core Celebrant, or maybe we cut the Celebrants all together and we play a Safekeeping and another Aura, like some combination of those is probably accurate. I'm not going to say it's not, but I at least want to try this out for a few games, and then, you know, we'll talk about it at the end of the video and see how we feel about the results. But then you have 1 Cave of the Frost Dragon, 1 Iganjo, 2 Plains, 1 Hive of the Eye Tyrant, 1 Swamp, 1 Forest, 4 Bright Climb Pathway, 4 Shattered Sanctum, 4 Branchloft Pathway, and 4 Overgrown Farmland. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to hope that our creatures growing alongside the Tamiyo Safekeeping and the auras give us enough defense against all these sweepers, the Meat Hook Massacres, whatever, and hopefully that can get us where we want to go. So let's cross our fingers, let's go play some games, and as always, at the end of the video, we'll talk about things we want to change, how our experimental cards worked out, and then we'll have a card spotlight for you. So we'll catch you on the other side. Oh boy. Yeah, I guess we'll keep. Ooh, that changes things a little bit. Alright, well, we'll go with the turn 1 better then. So then we'll put this on black on 2 to be able to play a Cleric of Lifespawn, and then we'll try to get a Valkyrie out. Oh, well, that may change things. We might have to kill a Ruin Crab, because that's going to be quite annoying if we don't. You know, I actually don't hate that, because then we can play this and kind of protect it. So, and we don't have to go all in on the Valkyrie, so sure. And this is probably more beneficial to us. Okay, could have been a downside if they had, like, Fading Hope, but it turns out they didn't. They also don't have a second crab, because they would have just played that there, so feel like that's a pretty safe play. So hopefully we can live off the back of this Cleric of Lifespawn and buy us enough time to not get milled out, but we'll see. Our deck is playing a fair amount of cheap things, so that could have a little bit of a drawback. But we'll find out. Alright. Because, I mean, if they just Tasha's Hideous Laughter us, that's going to be a lot of cards. It's probably going to be like half our deck. Alright, well, this was part of our plan to try anyway. If they counter it, they counter it. Okay, they didn't. Alright, they got their counter. Or sweeper, potentially. So, what I'm going to do here... So that'll put us to 25, and then the Valkyrie will put us to 27. Yeah, I think I want to do this just in case, so we can get the Veteran and the Cleric back if our board gets swept. Alright. Give ourselves some defense, but I think they're going for the double mill spell here. Copy and Hideous Laughter, I think. And if so, we should have lethal. No, we're going to be a little bit short. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, no, we'll get there. All right. We're all good. This puts us at 27. And then we can get in there for all of it. All right, cool. Ooh. All right, let's keep it and see what happens. I don't know if this is a good or a bad keep, honestly. This feels like a gamble. We need one of our non-Trellisera 2-mana plays on this turn, though. Whatever that looks like, I would like to have that. Alright, they're just going to exile that. That makes sense. Well, we didn't get either of them, so that's a bit disappointing. Alright, well, 'tis what it is. Alright, so we're just going to slow roll some cards for a bit, I guess. Alright. There's a Trellisera we can't really cast. I think our best bet is just go with this for now. And if it gets countered, it gets countered. It did not. Alright. I mean, right now we don't get much if they meat hook here. Okay, well, they're just going to concede. That works too. Alright, we'll keep it. Really would like a Lunarch veteran here. Maybe get to kill something. Oh no, we're up against the same thing on the other side? Gross. Alright, well, this might be all we can do. And then I guess we just Cleric class, try to kill whatever they play here. I don't really have much else going for us. Alright, well, we can kill their Voice of the Blood. Oh, of course, I would love to have that down here, but... is it worth it? Man, that's a real choice here, because we have a Trellisera, but it doesn't really do anything. We're risking their guy being really big, potentially. Alright. I don't love it, but... feel like this is just all we can do. I mean, we do have a core Celebrant, so we at least get a life here, which helps. And then now if we could find an untapped land or a green for a Trellisera, or I'd probably just leave green up for Tameo safekeeping, to be honest. But I'll do none of those things and just attack for 4, it looks like. In the turn. This is the saddest cleric on cleric battle here. Okay, fortunately I was able to find some mana. Actually, you know what? I'm probably just going to level mine up. I mean, there's no point doing anything else here. Then I can just play this, put a couple of counters, and it should be lethal. Gain a life, put a counter, gain... maybe it won't be, actually, because they just played a creature, so... if we do this, it's +1, so there's 3, 4, 5, 6... Yeah, this is it. Let's do that. This puts a counter here. This automatically gets a counter. We get rid of that. Put a counter from our aspirant. And it's exactly 7. Alright. Not impressive, but it's a win. This, sadly, is definitely a mulligan. I mean, we don't have a removal card. We don't have anything for the first 2 turns. Though these are nice. They don't do anything by themselves, so we're going to mulligan that. This is significantly better. Let's keep this, and... oh, boy. I think I'm going to scrap the Cleric class. Not totally sure how I feel about that, to be honest. I kind of want that card, but I also kind of don't. And if they just want to bounce this, they can bounce it. I mean, we're not doing much with it anyway. But we shall see. Alright, so far just mono blue is the order. Let's go ahead and play this and attack. Alright, end the turn. Interesting. No bounce spells. No draw spells. Celestis. Well, we can't really kill that, so that's kind of annoying. Alright. Doesn't make us feel great. Ugh. Don't like this. Feel like this Valkyrie's just getting set up to die, but there's really not much we could do about it. Okay, that's actually not a bad sign. If that's their plan. So we can live with that. Now, if they go land, meat hook, that super sucks, but meh, not a lot we're going to do about it. Which they very well might do that. Alright. They're going to look at a card. Ooh. Ooh. Unfortunately, because of the lands we have in play, we can't protect this even if it gets the counter, so we're going to not do that. We're just going to go ahead and play this. And just let it be what it is. Gain our 1 lowly life. Trying to Fading Hope stuff means there's likely not a meat hook in our future. They want a deluge, sure. Well, now there might be a meat hook. Oh boy. Yeah, I assume you just make sure you've got the 6 land or 6 mana and meat hook, right? That's the play here. And we missed a land, so that really kept us from doing anything fun and creative here. So, opponent, it's wide open for you. And they've gotten to see, what, 4, 5, 6 extra cards over the last 2 turns? So yeah, meat hook away. Nothing I can do about it. No, Shadow's Verdict, that works too. That is a totally legal play. Alright. Let's see what we got. Unfortunately, playing this is only going to get us to 25. This could get us to 27 if the opponent were to try to kill the Valkyrie. Which would put us out of meat hook range temporarily. So that does matter. However, invoke means that's not going to do much for us because that's a sacrifice effect. So, okay. Alright, we're dead here. Ooh, boy. Alright, we'll keep. Alright, that helps a bit. So we can put one of these on white. Innkeeper. Alright, we will try out a cleric. And then I don't know what we're going to do next turn. I'm kind of hoping to draw a 2 mana thing so we could do that and still have a safekeeping up, possibly. But even then, that only applies if it's another cleric or if it's... I mean, Cleric of Lifespawn, or if it's a Luminarch Aspirant? Maybe? Don't think anything else applies. And the opponent got the hardcore ramp turn, or ramp hand. So there's not a lot we can do. Oh, I should have put this into play. Oh, I goofed up. Oh, well. I could have played the veteran and left a safekeeping up, and I didn't. That's just silly. Yeah, that was a bad play. Alright, I guess the good news is they didn't have something crazy for us on this turn, so maybe we could still protect something with the safekeeping. We'll see. Hopefully something doesn't get countered as well, because that's a real possibility. Alright, and they're not attacking. Okay, so what do we do here? Do we just do veteran, gain 2, go to 24, try to play Valkyrie next turn? Then if something weird happens, we have Valkyrie plus the backside of veteran next turn? I mean, that feels a little weak, but it might be correct. Oh, actually, it only puts us at 26. Oh, no, we'll gain 3, so that put us at 27. Assuming these are all on the battlefield next turn. Also, option to draw Valkyrie plus something. Could also be a play as well. Alright. Opponent's going to take 5 here. I mean, maybe there's a coma or some such in our future. And I feel like we could have tried to run out the Valkyrie here. I just don't know what the benefit would have been. I mean, I guess maybe we'd make them spend the treasure if it was some type of 2 blue counter, which could have been okay. But I don't even know here. I mean, are they just ramping into Hullbreaker? I don't know what's going on at the moment. Quandrix Cultivator. Okay, well, that'll keep one of my creatures at home. Actually, no, because we'll have the Valkyrie pumping things. Well, it'll keep the Lunark veteran from attacking. Okay, you still have 4 mana. What are they ramping into? They have to have a counter, right? Because, like, nothing else makes a lot of sense here. I guess I'm going to do this and try to keep... I mean, we'll try to ride both Tamiyo's safekeepings. I don't know. And it wasn't a counter. What the hell is it? What are you doing with all that mana? Okay, well, I mean, we'll do what we can do, I guess. Attack for 7? Attacking with this, it gets blocked, nothing happens. I take here, I'd have to waste a safekeeping. I don't really want to do that. So sure. They're going to chump off the cultivator? Yeah, I got no idea. I'm actually genuinely anticipating what's about to happen. So you're going to add 2 counters to a thing, and then you're going to return a thing. All right, well, we don't want to return a thing. So that's not going to happen. And we also gain life off that. I like their play, though. I like what they were doing there. Because they would have pumped their creature. We lose our 2/2 from the Valkyrie dying. And then they get to kill our cleric, which is kind of savvy. Alright, so we get to pick up all of our things and replay them. We can kill a summoner, so we're not worried about that, I guess. It's just what order do we want to do things? So we can do this. We can do this. So 1 white, a white, and a black, and then we have a black and a white left. So we need 3 whites and 2 black, which we do have, right? 1, 2, 3 whites. No, we don't. We would be short, so we don't get to do that. But we kind of want the summoner dead. Kind of, sort of. Or we could just go... we're a mana short of doing that, too. Gosh dang it. I don't even know. This is pretty tough, actually. Yeah, that's just not going to work out for us, is it? And every other combination we want needs 6 mana. So I guess we just go with this. Which is kind of lame. I guess we could have went with Valkyrie. But I'm just going to pass. Let's try. I mean, we could also block and use it, but I don't want to use this here. Not yet. If they end up protecting their creature, then we'll consider just blocking. Okay, that gets returned. That's fine. Like, if we're just going to get to gain life and everything during this whole cycle, I mean, I guess it's fine. Like, we don't really care that much. Like, if it's bounce things and we get to keep gaining a bunch of life, like, we'll stay ahead in the race. So that's okay. We may end up having to waste a Blood Chief's Thirst just so they can't keep gaining a bunch of life and getting treasure, but even then, if there's probably a point where we want to save it and just get rid of the summoner, I guess. But who knows? Alright, so if we Valkyrie and we Lunark Veteran, we could leave that up. We Celebrant. Alright. Let's just do this. It makes the most sense. I mean, they're going to take 5, gain 2, get to replay some Innkeepers. Like, it's kind of a silly back and forth game. We're kind of in this weird situation, though, where it's kind of like, do I get to gain enough that even if this attacks once or twice, do we care, you know? Interesting game nonetheless. It's just, how do we break the cycle here is really what we're looking at. I mean, I guess they could have another Sky Turtle or whatever. But they use their mana. So now we get to kill one of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. and would still allow us to play a Lunarch Veteran. All right. So we go ahead and play a Veteran. And then we pass. I mean, who knows? They probably have another one by now. But, yeah, what are we going to do about it? All right, Innkeepers come down. Again. Nope, it's Cultivator this time. Probably followed by another Innkeeper. Which makes sense. Yeah, so this is kind of just a silly back and forth. Even if their plan is to just bounce a bunch of stuff, we have a bigger benefit from bouncing our things than they do, which is kind of peculiar. All right. And I guess we just pass. See what happens. Could be yet another Sky Summoner. Do we have anything? We don't have anything good in our graveyard, so these auras aren't really that powerful. I mean, their deck's not really playing anything that has a bunch of fight spells that are going to matter right now. So even that's not... Oh, they're using Treasure first. I wonder what this is about. I guess it's another summoner? Yeah, okay. I guess we'll just try to find another removal card. This is going to be a long game. This sort of feels like a situation where, like, this isn't the deck they want to go against, and that's not the deck I want to go against, but we're just in this weird cycle, and we'll just have to make it work. I guess until they get to double summoner. All right, if we get 2 of these, they're each 6, 8 or whatever, so I guess that's fine. We don't have mana, though, to protect them, so don't necessarily want to do that. We could do this in one of these, and I guess that's fine. I was just thinking if I wanted a Celebrant instead, but this will have to do. All right, and we'll pass. Which is kind of a giveaway if we're not playing the Lunarch Veteran here, but meh, what do you do? Because we can take 7. I don't think we want to take 14 and go below our mark for our Valkyries. Though I say that. Let's say we take, let's see, what would that be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that would be 15. Okay, they're not going to do that. I think we just go to 31. And if they bounce stuff, they bounce stuff again. We'll deal with it. But the way I'm looking at it, it's kind of like we play a Valkyrie and something this turn, so we're going to gain 4, 5 at a minimum. 6, 7, 8, I guess, off of the... Oh, Cultivator classes. That's a real problem. Okay, that's going to be a nuisance. Hopefully they don't have a lot to go with. Okay, they don't. 10 is still a lot, but fortunately we can actually survive 10, as silly as that sounds. That is a real thing. This is almost worth considering playing too. But let's go with Valkyrie. Actually, I guess we can play both of those. Play this. Just double checking all my math here. Play this. And is this everything we want to do? Yep, I guess so. We pass. Now, 11-11's no joke. If they decide to bounce that or attack with that Colossus, but we can double block, so that's a real thing, and we can gain 2 life. I mean, we may triple block potentially. I don't know. We'll see how it stacks up. Good news is we're not worried about the Cyclone Summoner coming through anymore. So that's awesome. But we shall see. We do know they have a spell that lets them put 2 counters on things. So we do have to be a little bit careful, because this can return a creature as well. So we might just pile block this bad boy. That might be our plan here. I think that's what we're up to. Just trying to think if there's a way we could force them to use that. Maybe. Because they'll want to remove a Valkyrie at some point, I'm sure. I probably could have got away with just Valkyrie Veteran, but I didn't want to make it easy on them. But let's see what they want to do here, because there's a good chance they might try to pull that same play off again here. Yep, looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. Nope, they're checking. They only get to kill one thing, so it's just how do they want to go about it. Nope, they're tapping very peculiar here. Oh gosh, what is this? Oh, is it for turtle? No, turtle would only be 2. That's 8 mana. What are we doing with 8 mana here? Is this some weird +X trample thing? Maybe I should just take in 10 and go to 44. Maybe that's the right play and just don't put anything at risk. This might have just been dumb. Okay, you're going to Jukai Naturalist to get Quandrix Command, Turtle, Summoner. Alright, fine. Alright, same thing. Smart, though, that they did it on the second one and not the first one. So they guaranteed get the 10 through to kill the first one. So it's actually pretty savvy by the opponents. I can appreciate that. Well, this is going to get bounced anyway now, so I don't even know why we care about this anymore. Yeah, at this point, we just get as much life as we can, right? And just say, none of this matters. I mean, we took their biggest hits. I guess the downside here is had we not blocked, and we just go to, at the time, would have been like 44 or whatever, we'd be able to attack on this turn for 6 twice. So that would have been 12. So the opponent would have lost another 6. So they would have been at 13. We'd still be playing a long game here. Yeah. All right. Everything gets picked up. And we're going to do this all over again. Yep. Fortunately, we have enough life that we don't have to worry about the summoners all that much. Though we might actually play an aura so we can block one and get a Valkyrie back, which I think should be our play here. Though they do have Quandrix Cultivator that can bounce some things or whatever, and is what it is. So we got to play this whole song and dance and figure out the best way to go about things. That is not bad, though. And we have 4 white mana to work with. So we can 1, 2, 3, 4. That would use 4 mana. If we want to do this, we would have to 1, 2, that's 6 mana. What do we have available? 7? So that wouldn't do it. We could do Lunarch Veteran, Cleric, this. That's not great. That's not as exciting. I think we want to do this. This. Into this. Or maybe this and this. Yeah, let's do this. Because we can afford to lose an aura here. Since we have a second one that's not going to do anything otherwise. This is really just going to come down to how the opponent chooses to use their command. The good news is, like I said, we're at 77, so we don't have to block. We can just let stuff through for a couple of turns before we're even remotely at risk of not getting a Valkyrie bonus. I mean, they played 2 Summoners and a Cultivator. I don't know how many they would play. I would assume maybe 3 and 2. So we do have to keep that in mind, that those could be real numbers that we have to contend with. And we only have 1 Tamiyo Safekeeping left. Righteous Valkyrie is going to trigger a life gain. So we're going to get 2 counters on the Voice of the Blessed before we get our turn again, if this goes down this way. Then we will play a Righteous Valkyrie, gain a life, Celebrant, gain life twice, 3 times. So be able to attack with... Oh my gosh, this is so much damage. Okay. There's like 80 things happening right now. This is silly. If we get another white land, we could have a really big turn next turn too. Like I said, I think this is the type of game the opponent did not want to play against. And now they're having to figure out, like, should they bounce Aura or not? How much damage can they get through? If Aura dies and I get a Lunark or get a Valkyrie back, are they okay dealing with that? Oh, this is gonna be sad. Are they gonna AFK here? Oh, this is gonna suck. This was such I think we're gonna win this anyway. Just running the opponent out of cards eventually. I mean, it's gonna be a long game. But I don't know how the opponent was going to ultimately do enough. Assuming we found land as this game went on. Because once we get to where we can cast 3 things a turn, we basically start negating the damage that they're doing. And they would have... Yeah. Dang it. That sucks. You know, I'm going to keep this. But I think we need to draw like an untapped white source or something for this hand to even do remotely anything. And this is kind of assuming, you know, even if the opponent has... I mean, the opponent could have kill spells and make this whole hand not worth anything, honestly. I wish one of these was a Lunark or a Luminarch aspirant, because I would have liked to have played like Cleric class first and then that on 2, but no such luck. No such luck. Okay, well, we'll at least force the opponent to spend some cards. There's a good chance they're just playing a sacrifice deck here, so we're going to lose this Voice of the Blessed. You know, though, I think you're supposed to play this more patient. I should have probably put this into play, played the Cleric class. Next turn, maybe play Voice of the Blessed after that. I don't know. It wouldn't really have mattered. We were only going to have access to 3 lands this turn anyway, unless we draw an untapped land. So it's kind of neither here nor there, really, all things considered. I guess that's some good news, right? They didn't have a way to get rid of our Duder. Alright, I guess we do this. See if we can get in with some amount of damage. And then I guess next turn we could play Voice of the Blessed with the Tameo safekeeping up. Which is also another way to gain life, potentially, on the opponent's turn. So that's kind of cool. And then hope Valkyrie goes off. I guess that's our plan, if you want to call it that. It's a very loose plan. But it's something. I was going to say, maybe we'll get lucky and the opponent will wait till our turn. Oh, no, they drew that and they have to use it now. I was hoping they would get something they could wait to try to use on our turn, but they're definitely going to kill the Voice of the Blessed here, because I would. Yep, that's the absolute right thing to do. Good thing is we have a backup one that we can protect with the safekeeping, but it might also die to a Meathook Massacre next turn. So let's see. There are definitely options. Well, that's not bad to have as a follow-up, I suppose. All right. You know, though, it actually doesn't die to a Meathook Massacre because we could just try to protect something and then gain 2, which would put a counter on it. So that's kind of sneaky. Let's see if the opponent tries to Meathook for 3 here. They did not. Okay. They would like to turn one of those into a thing. We would probably allow that and not care. Yeah, we'll just take the 3. If they're choosing to attack, we'll take 6. Don't care. Not blocking. Like, if you get us otherwise, you get us. We are not putting these at risk for no reason. That's just silly. We are definitely better off playing the protection game here. The old Trellisera is real nice. Real nice. But I think we're going to do this. Try to get a life gain trigger there. Move this to 4. No attacks, actually. We're not the aggressor, and we don't necessarily want to waste a safekeeping here if we have to play it defensively. Now, though, the opponent can Meathook for 5, so that kind of sucks. We need them to Meathook for 4. They did Meathook for 4. Alright, cool. I guess it doesn't really matter what we target. Sure. I mean, it doesn't do much. We need another thing that gains life for that to matter. But I mean, it's a start. Or do we just attack with our Hive of the Eye Tyrant here? Actually, these are decisions. Decisions. Actually, I think I'm gonna do this while we can, and we'll just see what happens. I mean, I'm going to assume that this Voice of the Blessed is not going to live much longer. And we're just going to hope to draw a life gain thing this turn. Oh, boy. All right. And an Anvil. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Come on, deck. We need a life gain thing. Life gain thing would be huge. Be huge. Come on. Come on, deck. We need a life gain creature on top. Celebrant, Valkyrie, Veteran. Veteran would actually be really good. No, those are none of those things. Those are none of those things. Oh, do we now just pay the mana? They're down to one card. I think we got to do it. I hate this, but I think we got to do it. And it has to be this because we need to get the counter on it now. And then hope they don't draw something with a blood token. Though that being said, they would have to sack both of those. Oh, I forgot about the extra token, actually. I actually misdid my math. That actually works fine. For some reason, I was calculating it might only be at like an 8, but... Okay. Oh, and then they have a... Oh, did they get another deal damage thing? I bet they did. Or, I guess another meat hook. Yeah, okay, that works. That checks. Alright. Now draw another life gain thing. Like, we bought all the time in the world, deck. No more excuses. You can do it. Alright, hey, that's legit. That's a clock. It does something. Ugh, that's not great. I mean, I guess we could kill the token, which counts for something. Alright. We'll try. I don't know if any of these matter, but I'm thinking, like, what would you get back? I guess this. Unfortunately, opponent did get to gain some life, so our clock is a bit slower than we want it to be here. This takes away creatures they have to sacrifice. They could still make one and then attack for 3, though, which would be 4, 5 total for the turn. But they're taking the turn to look instead. Okay, come on. All right. We're going to lose another 3. Then we lose another 1. And we didn't draw the thing. Oh, my gosh. Oh, how terrible. How terrible. That is pretty flippin' awful. GG's. We did. Man, and we're just holding these creatures with no way in sight. Golly. That is the worst. That's the worst. Okay, what do we do with this? We can put this on white. Actually, put this on white, this on black, play that. All right, let's keep it. There's at least a plan here. Gonna be sad when I draw a green land, but everything's black and white in hand, so we're just gonna go with this to kind of stay on pace. There's some hellos from the opponent, as they probably are going to wreck our face here when we do this, but we're going to do it anyway. Yep. Dead cleric. I was going to say, just shoot it. Like, what are we waiting on? Like, I know he's dead. I bet you know he's dead. All right. I mean, I guess we have Aura to maybe get to do some fancy things, but we'll see. They can still play something and kill an aspirant here very easily. Especially if they have a Blood Chief's Thirst. Although this could be interesting. They may end up deciding, do they play a land because they need to play that to kill an aspirant versus getting the free land. Yeah, I think that's what the situation was. So they're going to throw the land away so they can kill our aspirant. Yep. Which is kind of good for us that they're using up all their voltage surges here. Your opponent's going to sacrifice that now? Interesting. I wonder what they're looking for. So they lost 2 lands there. Alrighty then. I guess we're just going to do this. I mean, why not? So now if Aura dies, we'll probably just get back Cleric of Lifespawn and then try to play a Valkyrie and then just play the life gain against this opponent. Life game against this opponent. Alright, so you sack that. Makes sense. Get another 1/1. I mean, we're definitely going to block. We get back Cleric. So now we're going to try to gain life faster than they're going to drain us for life. So now we gain 1, add a counter. And then we get rid of the smelter. And then we will attack here. Because, I mean, if they get rid of our Valkyrie, they get rid of our Valkyrie. I mean, they've got 4 mana, 2 cards. We'll see what happens. And also, if they don't get rid of Valkyrie, we get to get 2 life here, and then that puts us over the limit. We're not blocking, so that'll bring the limit down. Because if they could only deal 2, then I wasn't going to make, or 3, I wasn't going to make it easy on them. So if it's another voltage surge, then so be it. So you're going to meat hook for 3. Reasonable. Okay, so it was a good no block. So I guess if we get a land, we're just going to... Okay, so next turn we're just going to be looking to get back a Aura, I think is going to be our game plan here. And I think we're just going to make this bigger. And just try to live off this for a minute. Alright. Okay, let's see how this goes. Yeah, Aspirin can die. We're okay with that. Even if we lose a couple points of life here, we're going to get enough back from Aura coming into play and then gaining 3 from the Valkyrie, so we're good with that. Warlock class don't hurt too much. And here, even if they go to get a card, unless they get something that exiles, we should be okay here. Oh, wait, we hadn't leveled this the first time. Uh-oh. I have a miscalculation. I forgot we hadn't even leveled to level 2. So, is there any chance we could find a Loonheart veteran, please? That would be real nice. that would help quite a bit. Well, that's not going to do it for us. Let's attack. And let's just put this on white. Okay, well, hopefully we get to keep our Valkyrie. There's a chance we don't. Okay, that is annoying, not gonna lie. That is a bit of a problem. That also speeds up their clock and keeps us from getting the life that we want. Yep, sack and trade one of them out. So that puts us down to 19. They could actually get 3 losses, 2 more losses, put us at 16. That's going to be tough. But I think we're still on the same plan here. No, this isn't bad for later. But I think we go ahead and do this. Because then we negate the effect of a bunch of kill spells. So we get this duder back. Put a counter here. And I'll probably put a counter on Aura. And then we're going to attack. Alright. Then next turn, if these live, we get to gain 4, 5, plus 2 counters. If Aura blocks here, we get to gain 4. So yeah, we're not in bad shape. Now, admittedly, they're going to get in with the Soul Ripper, so that's going to be at least 5. So we're going to go to 20. Because they can sack a Deuter. Actually, we're going to go to 18, 17, actually. So we won't ever get to the point where we have a bonus from Celebrant, unfortunately. Or from the Valkyrie. Question is, do we need it? Yeah, we do. I was thinking we could give this flying. I guess that was an error. If we'd have put another counter on Valkyrie last turn, we'd have lethal this turn. So I should have calculated that before putting that counter on Aura, actually. Or we could just draw that. That's a thing that matters. Yep. And then we get to put a bunch of counters over on here. And then we get to do this. And we get a bunch of life gain triggers, and that's going to be lethal. A bunch of different ways. Barring something silly happening, but, you know, their hand's empty, so attacking for 10's going to do it. Okay, cool. Got that one. Well, I'm sorry. I think I included, I don't know. Editing is weird. I think we included the long game there with that back and forth Simic deck, and we didn't get to see the finish, but I think we were going to win that game anyway. So I apologize that that didn't have a satisfying conclusion, but it was interesting to see a way to beat that deck. But anyway, I think all of our experimental cards worked. So that part is really good to know. The downside though is I think the mana is still a little shaky in this deck at times, which makes me a little bit uncomfortable. However, everything worked out. I thought I was going to want to cut those core Celebrants, but there were a couple of times that the Celebrant let us gain enough life to do cool things. It was a good thing to get back out of the graveyard a time or two, so I guess it gets to stay. I don't know. But if you do want to cut the Celebrants, I think you can look at adding an Aura and adding a Tamiyo Safekeeping, and those might actually be the right decisions. So I'm going to leave that for you to decide. But I will say this, though the deck was actually good and worked, I don't think this is a deck you want to play, especially right now, this late in the season. If you're looking for something to pass time the next week, I would probably pass on this. Even if you end up having to craft it, there's going to be a lot of cards that aren't going to appear in another list, though there are some clerics in the next set that make this at least worth revisiting, so we'll have to take a look at it then. But until then, I might just pump the brakes on this one and just kind of note this video as a favorite or something and then come back to it to see, you know, maybe you want to build it down the road, sure, and let's see how the rest of the format shakes up going forward. But it's at least a neat idea to come back and visit. I was surprised to see it played as well as it did. Now for today's card spotlight, on flavor, we're going to look at Edgewalker. And this is actually kind of a neat card. It's one that a lot of people don't know about, and it's only had one printing, I believe, in Scourge. But the cool part about it is that it is pretty cheap. It's only about $1 to $1.50 on most sites. And it's kind of cool if you want to play a cleric theme deck for something like Commander. Now you only get to play one, of course, but it does reduce the cost of everything by a white and a black mana, which is actually pretty significant. Because in the mid part of the game, especially if you've drawn extra cards at some point, it actually can be the difference between you getting to play a third or a fourth card in a turn, which actually is pretty powerful, especially since so many clerics have abilities that work off of each other. So if you are in the market for some type of cleric-based deck, check out Edgewalker. Now, as always, you will be able to get this deck list down in the description below, with all links to our Facebook gaming streams, our Twitch streams and our Discords. And remember, if you haven't yet, like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell, mostly because you don't want to miss the deck list we're going to be putting up over the next 5 or 6 days. And you want to check us out on Tuesday because we're going to be part of the early access stream. We will be streaming in the morning on YouTube, in the afternoon on Facebook, and in the evening on Twitch. So if you want to catch us, all of my different socials are down in the descriptions. You can follow all of those and not miss a single thing. But that's all I have for you for now. We'll see you next time.